It's time for the Pestrogen podcast with your hosts, Jenny and Kandyce.
Welcome back, guys, to Pestrogen Podcast. My name's Jenny, your co-host. Thank you for joining us today. This is the episode Dust Yourself Up and Get Back Up Again, or Try Again, however you put it. But today we're going to be talking victories and fails. I think it's a very powerful message to celebrate each other and learn from our mistakes and get back up again. So this is going to be a really cool episode. But without further ado, my co-host Kandyce. Kandyce, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. It's been a very windy, rainy day. Luckily, I didn't have to work. I did that yesterday, hence the pictures of me hiding in the crawl space entry, because I wasn't trying to deal with it anymore.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
Nope.
it was drizzling, okay, whatever, and then it just downpoured, like right as I was going in the entry, which happens to be underneath the deck, and it's pretty good size, so I was just sitting there waiting, staring at the lake, watching it, going, anytime now, you can stop.
Oh.
The
Dang.
joys of the Oregon coast and pest control together. But we make it work.
Right. There you go. Yeah, it was windy here today. I was blown away today.
Yeah, I heard
Jeez.
that the Midwest is having some crazy weather over there.
Mm-hmm. I woke up to an epic storm, and I put off leaving because of it. I was like, I ain't going out in that.
I don't blame you. We got rained out earlier this week, too. It's been a thing. But, all that being said, I mean, weather talk is weather talk. We have some awesome gentlemen guests, and it's probably going to look different on the recording, but whatever. To me, directly next to me, I have the amazing, awesome Russell with Dragonfly Pest Control.
Pest
And
management.
then management, my bad. And then right down there is the awesome and wonderful Rodney with Powerhouse Pest Solutions.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. We figured what two better guys to talk about epic fails, epic wins, than a guy that just hit his 1 year mark with Rodney, and one that's in, about 6 months or less? 5. There we go.
5 to
4 or
6.
5-ish.
Who's
I mean,
counting?
this first year is insane, trying to figure everything out on what's going to work, what's not going to work.
Yep.
So you're going to have lots of wins and lots of fails with it all. So hence our awesome guest this week.
So happy to be here. I'm blown away that I was asked to be on this podcast, a podcast that's generally around celebrating, females in the industry, which is so needed because there's so many badass women out there doing what was always considered a male profession. The old stereotype of the dirty ass old exterminator, and now we've got so many, good looking women out there doing it, but so many amazing badass women out there showing dudes what's up. And it's great to be here. Very great to be here.
We're happy to have
thank
you.
you. Yes.
No, it's I actually got my cousin to start listening to y'all, and closest thing he's got to pest control is his ex-wife, but it's I had to time it while you were drinking, Rodney. But no,
I lost my beer, brother. I lost my beer.
but like Rodney said, I mean, to keep echoing this, it very is much awesome because this is one of those fields my mom will even like, oh, that's what guys do. So it is really awesome to see and know that there's such a huge presence that's now being represented. And I apologize, I'm babysitting and they're loud.
It's okay. They sound sweet. We love it. It's too cute.
I have already had
thank
mine
you.
walk back and forth a few times. You guys just didn't see him.
Aw. Yeah. But yeah, that. I think that's a common misconception too, just for like all the listeners out there, is that this show is just for women. So I sent out like a mass amount of messages over yesterday and today asking for entries for this. And several people were like, but I'm not a lady. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm asking if you've failed or won at something. It doesn't matter. The co-hosts are chicks. Like, it's a lady view. And I mean, I'm sure we'll have some women-centered focused episodes eventually. But yeah, that's the beauty of the industry, is it's not just male, female, you know.
Yeah, this is just
So.
pest control through a woman's view for the most part. Because, like I've said before, we're all going to see it differently. It's been proven time and time again between me and Brandon on how we do things, how we learn things and adapt and overcome, and it's just how it is.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. So, would either of you gentlemen want to share either a victory or a fail that you've had in this 6 months to a year marker so far? So, since you've gone off on your own, not before.
I consider it a victory every month when I can pay my bills, because that is one more month where I can keep doing what I really love doing. It's some weeks are tighter than others. Some months are tighter than others. They say it takes 1 to 2 years to really get to where you want to be, or get to that super full sustainability. But I haven't had to move out into a box yet. I don't live under a bridge. I'm not eating cardboard. And recently I also took in my oldest stepson, or ex-stepson, so I can even afford to feed his mouth as well. So
Hell yeah.
I'm not rich by any means, but I am not dying, and I consider that every day to be a success.
100% for sure. Like the victories you take in life sometimes feel like small victories, but when you look back on them, they're actually mountains that you've overcome. Just cresting over the mountain of 1 year for me, it really made me reflect on how I've conducted myself after leaving Big Box. And having the looming threat of lawsuits and the looming threat of, well, we're going to come after you and your personal possessions and try to sink you because you had a good reputation with your clients. For me personally, my biggest victory as far as going out on my own and forging my own path over this past year was to not go so overboard with advertising, to not go door knocking. I literally have done no door knocking in my first year. All I did was create a Facebook page, put up a few road signs, let people know where I was, and let everybody come to me. The biggest victory was seeing old clients, 4 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months since I had left a previous company, find me and say, oh my God, we found you. We wondered where you had gone. Nobody would tell us anything. Please take us back on as a client again. And I'm like more than happy. And a lot of times I'm charging a little bit more than what Big Box was because I don't have the buying power. My personal fees for one guy in a truck might be a little bit more than, say, this big giant company. And they're more than happy to pay it to have somebody that actually gives a shit about their home or their business and their pest control. So a big victory was literally just saying, I'm going to do this, going out and doing it, and having it be successful year one right off the bat.
That's awesome. That's a lot of our clients were that exact same way. Brandon worked in the industry prior to this. He left. And then when he came back with this company, people were so excited. They were like, oh my God, where have you been? Our new pest control sucks. And like you said, our prices are higher than, the $45 quarterly crap because we refuse to do quarterlies here because they don't hold up. We have 2 places that are quarterlies. One, because it's through a property manager and the owner just wants it to be quarterly, whatever. we just kept that quarterly. And the second one, which is we're actually going to do it on Monday, it's like a 3-story apartment complex for the elderly on like Section 8 housing assistance. And it takes us all day to do it because we take the webbing down all 3 stories off all their balconies, and it is a task. So every 3 months is fine. But it used to be every 6 months with the old company, and then Brandon absolutely hated it because it looked like you were never there. 3 months is pushing it, but it's gotten a lot better. But yeah, people just love that he's here, and then a lot of them are just like, oh, it's so cool that your wife does this too. And a lot of these people have become, as Brandon calls them, my client now. And I'm like, whatever. But there are some that like I literally do. There's one elderly lady that I always take Jude with me because she absolutely adores him, thinks he's just like the coolest thing in the world. So I have to go do hers next week, or actually I'm going to do it the week after. Yeah, because it'll be spring break for Jude, so he can come with me. And she always just gives him a big old hug, and they talk about their cats, because they have literally, like, identical cats. Jude's is named Star, her cat is named Sky. And that was just, like, because they're both, you know, crazy, you know, when her cat is, like, 18, and, yeah, Jude's cat's, like, 7, so... But yeah, we just thought it was really cool that they're like identical looking Siamese with very identical names too. It's crazy.
That's adorable. Too cute. Aw. Love it. Should we maybe read a couple stories that people submitted?
Sure. I'll start off and I will read from our guest from last week, Heather Tutton. She submitted her story. And it says, mine was in a prior industry. Sam and I traveled across the country to save a national account the company had for over a decade. We had a 36-hour day, left California on the red eye, had breakfast at the New York airport, flew into South Carolina, drove to North Carolina for a meeting and crushed it, which I don't doubt that because them two are awesome. Drove back to South Carolina to stay with friends and almost drowned in the spa out of sheer exhaustion. That meeting we crushed, we were disappointed we won the contract because now we have to keep doing the job. We announced we were closing the company to the family that week. For us, the win was, in reality, a loss. That's how we knew it was time to take a leap and close the family company and make the transition to pest control, out from behind a desk and into the field. While this isn't specifically about pest control, it was a huge learning experience for both of us. It was heart-wrenching for me to close my dad's company, but also knew he wouldn't want me to keep running a company where I couldn't celebrate the big wins. Because ultimately, that's losing. That win-loss launched us our own pest control company, and we're loving it. The wins now are celebrated hard, the losses are learning experiences. Sometimes winning is also losing, and a learning experience.
Fair.
Yeah, completely
That's
fair.
awesome.
It's the truth, though. Sometimes the wins are better than the losses because you get to learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Absolutely.
the other way around. Sometimes the losses are better than the wins. There we go.
There we go, yeah. Her and Sam were so cool to have on the show. So unique for what they do.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. It led me to a lot of conversations with different people about how little bird work I do in my region, Ohio/Indiana. Do you do any bird work, Kandyce?
I don't.
Like,
Brandon has, but not to the extent that they do. He's done like the netting and stuff like that. He's heard of the lasers and like the pucks and all that stuff, but he's mainly just done like netting for like casinos and stuff like that.
How about you guys? Rodney, do you have a lot of bird issues or clients that need help with bird stuff?
It's not something I get into a whole lot. In my prior working with the prior company, it's something we offered. We did a lot of bird shoots. So that's actually you going in before, the client is actually physically open, and yeah, you're basically shooting birds for a few hours. Being an avid hunter myself, that was right up my alley. So I very, very much enjoyed, going through a grocery store while it was while it was closed down, zombie apocalypse style with a rifle and just dropping them from the rafters, The night crew was always a little weary. They're like, here's this guy dressed all in black, and he's coming in with a scoped rifle, and we're just, he's got blood splatter on his glasses. We don't know what's going on, but there's no more birds flying around shitting on our grapes, so he must be here for that.
Right?
It was a lot, we did some warehouses with pigeons where, we would go in and we would, one or two of us would go in and there'd be a little competition who can shoot the most pigeons out of the air while they're flying. And it was I see you laughing, Russell. That's a damn good time, brother.
Awesome.
I was just thinking your name is actually Dale Gribble or some weird name. No, that sounded like a lot of fun. I've done a rat shoot before, never a bird shoot, but no, it's funny because yesterday I was doing a minor exclusion for some birds, and I was sitting there thinking, like, I could buy some lasers and set that up, and listening to that podcast, like the amount of stuff they do blew me away because I don't even know half this stuff even exists. I'm spikes, netting, and caging. I mean, that's like my three ways of doing an exclusion for birds, and I'm like, holy shit, they got lasers now. So yeah. But I like Dale Gribbles is better down there. Just going through the
old school.
Yeah, we've done the rat shoot too, but it wasn't with actual ammo. We were doing it with airsoft guns, but it still works because they were like 520 feet per second. So it works, and we tested it at home.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite times with my middle brother. He's got a sheep farm. And his barn got so heavily infested, we stayed out there all night long just drinking beer, shooting rats. By the morning time came, we couldn't tell what was rat or what was wood, so we figured it was time to go to bed. But,
yeah, probably.
One of my favorite memories with him, other than him shooting me. But yeah.
Oh my God, that sounds like so much fun. The first time I ever heard of like a rat shoot like that or anything was at a convention, and I believe it was a lady by the name of Lisa, and we were all drinking, and she's just like, yeah, me and my husband, we were just like shooting rats, and I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome. So invite me to that party. But
it really is fun. When we did ours, like I said, we're using the airsoft guns, but we also had my Lopso Terrier up there running them back and forth in an attic. So it was like the carnival games where they're running back and forth. And me and Jude are just ping, ping, ping. It was great.
That's awesome.
I've even I need to make like a small uniform now for my dog, Little Russell.
Yes.
He's even gotten some confirmed kills now. We did the dry ice trick on a burrow. And then he's gotten some out of a house. Like he's gotten a couple confirmed kills now. And he knows I'm going to feed him liver anytime he kills a rat. So now he hunts for them because he wants that treat.
It's fun doing it with the dog. It's so much fun.
Oh, I'm jealous. That's awesome. Let's do the TFTC gentlemen stories.
Do you want to do yours first?
Yeah.
All right.
So, from Tales from the Crawl Space, you all know, my cheese dad, Brad, gave us a story. So, he says, a long time ago, someone told me the most durable lessons in life are cast in the mold of failure. In my case, these lessons in failure came from my ambition. On 3 separate occasions in my career, I have essentially had to start fresh. The first being due to inexperience, the second due to treachery, and the third from self-preservation. So my first foray into management began with my complete lack of experience. After floundering for 2 years, unable to find my rubber, I was set back in the field. I became a close study of my supervisor, who was wildly successful at team building, leadership, and proactive management. Under his tutelage, I became more confident in my ability to lead a team and was again promoted. I was able to make a lateral move to another company where I was managing what I believed was a solid and loyal team. That belief came crushing down when I was accused by a disgruntled, recently fired employee of illegal activities and was promptly terminated. I went for weeks looking for another position in the industry. I was able to get hired by a regional company as a technician. Over the years, I rose to branch management, where I served for several years. As time wore on, the pressures in the position were becoming more and more bizarre and I don't know how to thank you, ma'am. Begin to affect me in ways that were eroding my happiness and overall mental stability. Totally get that. This time, I voluntarily changed positions and moved to another company, as you guessed it, technician. This change has been a godsend. I feel relevant and respected. Forward thinking is welcomed. I have been able to learn new skills and form close bonds which will long endure. I am happy and love the work once more, and the passion for it has returned. The lesson I learned is more valuable than gold. Success is internal. It's not just your name on a door. It's what your heart tells you it is. I love that one.
100%.
I love that.
100%.
Oh my gosh. That's
Perfect.
amazing. So that is
Pure
the golden
poetry.
lesson.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a win and a fail. Obviously, his fails were, getting into management before he was ready to, but all the wins from all of that, all that learning experience, to be where he is now.
Exactly. Yep.
I think that's the beauty of a failure. Like, it's never actually failing if you learn, you recompose yourself, and you move on from it. We all get into shit situations that we have to adapt and change. In this industry, especially on a daily basis, like, we're fighting Mother Nature every day we go out there. And we're doing that in an industry unlike any other. So for everybody sitting here and for everybody that's listening, pest control is like the king of industries, in my opinion, because we have to be the most versatile people out there. And you have to take your lumps daily, because you're going to get them daily. You're not going to fix every problem the first time. It's impossible to do so, but you have to flip the script and keep going. So, as always, Brad is poetry in motion with his words, and it's always beautiful. And, but he nailed it, on the head with the concept that, failures turn into beautiful victories, right?
They really do.
Yeah.
No,
100%.
And like you were saying, it's not just fighting Mother Nature; it's fighting adaptive Mother Nature, because she constantly changes too. It's not the same thing. It's not a cookie cutter, and that's where some of these companies don't understand. Is it's not a cookie cutter industry. Is it constantly changes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through something. I'm training my 19-year-old son right now. So he's going through the process of wanting to get into this business. And so he spent, a dozen days on the road with me. And, the biggest comment he makes is like, Dad, this shit is hard. Like, a routine job isn't a routine job because there's always something new. And he's like, they came for that last time. Why aren't they coming for it now? I'm like, it's everything adapts, man. We're dealing with smart things. We're dealing with things with great intellect, or great instinct, so to see him really appreciate what I do has been a blessing for me, and also really made me appreciate what I do that much more,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We are knights in shining armor to these clients, and we're slaying dragons that are nature, and nature changes and stuff. But that's what I love about it, is that it's not cookie cutter. It's fun. It's adventurous. I'm a hobbit that actually likes adventure. So, so it's awesome.
All right. So the story from Jack, my brother from another mother. I think my greatest failure was, after being a branch manager for 2 different Donnie and Marie companies, I went to work for another as a technician because I needed the work and there weren't many companies hiring at the time. Miserable shit. Worked me like a dog for shit money. But that led to my greatest success. I hated the Mormon company so damn much, I was constantly searching for something else, and got the job at as the pest control supervisor for the second largest school system in the country, 400 plus schools. Was so glad to get the hell away from that company whose name rhymes with proxy. Fuckers. That's how he ended it, so I had to emphasize.
Yes. Rightly so.
Rightly so. And I don't even have to deal with, like, the Donnie and Marie companies over here. But, man, hearing about them and... Oh, goddamn. I wish somebody would come knock on my door.
Yeah. It's awful. It's awful.
I imagine.
They are. That's my background, and there's a reason I call them wet shite. It's not fun.
Nope. And yeah, the Donnie and Marie companies, and that is a phrase coined from Tales from the Crawl Space. If you haven't checked them out, you need to check them out because they're hilarious. If you don't have a sense of humor, maybe not for you. But that's it. Speaking of, that's how all of us here have really met, is Pest Control Humor Depot and Tales from the Crawl Space.
Our favorite group.
Our favorite group, yes. But that's what they call those massive Mormon companies that typically come from Utah, is Donnie and Marie Company. So,
yep.
Yeah.
A reference the young kids might not get, but it's still funny.
It is.
Right, which I didn't get it.
Damn young.
And I'm not young.
Yeah.
I'm not that young.
Uh-huh.
I'm only like 5 years younger than you, I think.
You're young.
This is like, oh, am I old or?
I feel it sometimes.
We're in our 30s. We're kind of old, but kind of young still.
I've crested 40.
I just turned 40 in October.
I've crested the 40s.
Me too, brother.
40 for me, so Jenny's the youngin'.
Told you were young.
Aw. Well, shucks.
Here in Nova Scotia, well, in Canada as well, like, there's not a lot of, like, mom and pop kind of pest control. You've got, like, your big players. You've got the Big O, you've got the Arkilly, you've got, the Truly Stolen, you've got things like that are just, you've got those worldwide global companies that have always felt like they had like a headlock on pest control. But recently, and, I've joined a lot of groups across Canada and specifically Nova Scotia. Recently, the little guys and the technicians are fighting back. And they're saying it's time for the technician that's good, that knows, and that wants to do good work. It's time for us to take pest control back for us. It's time for you to stop just skipping services and billing it out for the sake of keeping your bottom line there. It's time for folks like us to come out there, offer quality service at a good price and consistent monthly service. Always there to help you out, No offense to anybody working big box. I know there is one on the panel here, one of our gracious hosts. But, there's a revolution in pest control that is saying big corporation needs to take a step back and realize it's not all about money. It's about the people and giving them what they need. Yeah. Period.
Yeah. Big companies have become barcode bangers and invoicers.
Yep.
That's what they do. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't need a barcode. I don't need a barcode to tell me I've checked the station, because my clients know when I'm on site, I'm doing my shit.
Yep.
period.
Yep.
No, exactly. And it's funny because Houston's like the opposite. We've got, I asked our product rep one time about how many companies operate in Houston, and he said it's over 1,000, because that also includes the owner operators, the single guys out there. But so for us, it's like the opposite. We are overabundant in pest control. And so it's, what can you do to make yourself stand out to where, like a big thing is we do no contracts. And what I tell everybody is I want you to want me to come back. I don't want to come back because you're obligated to ride out the year.
Yep.
And so here it's the same battle, but it's a different, war, or different battle, same war. But either way, it's just the same but different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as the person oddball here in that statement, I agree. I definitely agree. And it's crazy because, especially on places like Pest Control Humor Depot, we're the redheaded stepchild, especially the company I work for, right? So it stinks because every branch is different, and even though it's the big box company or whatever, I specifically know that I work for a branch that is pretty tight knit and cares that I care about my clients and stuff. But we still do have the barcodes and all that, and it is like very cookie cutter, like, hey, this is your account now. Go scan all the barcodes and stuff. So
if I can be honest, like, the Big O in my area is very highly respected because, and it's due to they have really good technicians. I've met all of them personally in my area or the areas that I, will be willing to drive to. And they're all friendly and they're all good and they all give a shit. And so like you were saying, the branch being a big factor. Yes. Because, you go to other places in Canada and our Achilles is, they might be respected in this town or in this town because they've got the good technicians. At the end of the day, it comes down to the people that you see on this panel, the technician that is out there doing the work, because we care and we represent ourselves with every job we do. If you've got a barcode banger that doesn't give a shit, I've heard of dudes that had a binder of barcodes in their truck, and they never get out of their truck, and they went beep 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 beep. Stop, done.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
There's been a few here that actually got fired from big box and local companies because they were out fishing at the time they're sitting there scanning their codes. Needless to say, obviously their phone has GPS on it, and when their stop is way over here and they're over here at a lake that they have no stops at, kind of doesn't work that way.
Okay, for my specific branch, I would be so upset to let down my service manager and my branch manager for one. My branch manager is such a sweet guy. He's an ex-Marine, but he's like a hugger. He's like, I attribute him in my mind as a golden retriever. Like, if you mess with him, he'll bite you. But at the same time, he's a good boy. Like, like a golden retriever. He's super sweet and lovable, and you don't want to let him down just because he's a good guy. So,
Also, you can't call him an ex-Marine. You're never an ex-Marine.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I've had a number of Marines as technicians back when I was a manager, and I would always buy them chocolate crayons as snacks and give them out to them during meetings.
Like, you need your crayon.
Yeah, they're real cheap. You can find them online. It's like crayons, but they're made out of chocolate. And if he's a Marine, he'll appreciate that.
Okay, that's awesome. I love it. But yeah, it really does come down to the branch. But yeah, I get it. Definitely.
And also to kind of piggy on that, not just the branch.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with working for Big Box or for Donnie and Marie. I know, out of this panel, it's 3 owners and then Big Box, and it's perfectly A-OK to work for, a company organization like that. They pay your bills, they give you routes, they take care of you with insurance benefits, etc. And if you have a good branch, then awesome. If you're a good technician, awesome. Power to you. There's we slam them a lot because that's just what we do. But there really is nothing wrong with working for those companies.
Yeah. And I see Donnie Marie as a really good stepping stone too, because I actually am thankful I started there because of the, they had a lot of training of, what was it, role playing of like sales and interactions with customers and stuff that my current big box situation never does. So that was kind of cool, to have that experience, especially as more of an introvert, especially when I entered the field. That was nice. So
that is helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a win. That's a win.
That is a win. That is a win. Love it.
Back to the theme.
Back to the theme.
Full circle.
We did have a voice clip come in from a very special person. And I say a very special person because I was recently dogged for fangirling this person. But you know what? I don't care. I am a big fan of this person.
Bad ass.
Unapologetically. I am.
Bad ass.
I love her face, as the video said. So this is from our special person.
Oh man. Okay. So, my greatest fail or my greatest success? My greatest success came from my greatest fail. My greatest failure in hindsight was investing too much of myself into a company and a partnership where I put trust in the wrong person. I was deeply committed not just to the business, but the vision I had for it growing together. Unfortunately, though, I found myself in a situation where I endured manipulation, dishonesty, infidelity, and looking back, I realized I stayed far, far, far longer than I should have. Hoping to make it work, believing in the potential rather than its actual reality. And ultimately, I was pushing out of a very company that I poured my heart into. It was a painful lesson, but one that shaped my perspective on business and leadership and self-worth. My greatest success is residential and commercial pest pros. What I first saw as a devastating loss leaving my other company turned out to be my greatest success. That experience forced me to step back and recognize my own value, my own worth, and instead of staying in a toxic situation, I took everything I had, everything I learned, and I built, and I put it into my own company, which is Residential and Commercial Pest Pros. It wasn't easy, but it was mine, and I grew from that, from the ground up. And that process also healed me. It moved me to a place from desperation and self-doubt to confidence and true ownership, not just of a business, but of my future. That experience taught me that failure isn't the end. Sometimes it's just the push we need to create something even better. And my heart is so full. It's definitely my biggest success.
Man, that's kick-ass. That's badass. I like that. And
you see why I fangirl?
That one hits a little close to home for Russell, as y'all
I bet.
Yeah.
No, that's I like that. That was good.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think I said it before, but that was Jasmine from Pest Pro. But
yep.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it.
All right, I am going to read one from, let's see, we'll do Josh Talbert's. He said, one of my biggest success was, or has got to be, myself. After leaving my first pest control company, I went to the Big Green Tea and thought since I had previous experience, I was a big shit. Or I guess top shit, however. I learned very quickly that I didn't know nearly what I should have, and that killed my confidence. I absorbed as much information as I possibly could, the who's, what's, and whys of everything I could that we deal with in our industry. I make it a point to learn from each company I've been with and use it to help me become a better, well-rounded employee. I will never claim to be an expert or claim I know everything, but I now know oh my God, hold on. But I now have the confidence instilled in myself to be able to attack any issue I come across, try to take different approaches to solve my customer issues. There we go.
Oh, that's good too. And I like I'd never claimed to know everything. When I worked for the Forest Service, I had a incident commander that used to always say, the day I know everything is the day I go in my backyard, dig a 6-foot hole, crawl in it, and die.
Yep.
It's forever changing. And no matter what you do, not even just this, but it is forever changing.
Oh, yeah. It's, I don't know how other states do their continued education, but like in Texas, once a year you go to your CEU. Every year there's something new to learn. I mean, it never stops.
We have to do multiples. They have 4 sessions a year, spring, summer, winter, and fall. You have to at least attend 2 of them. I think it should equal out to about 2 of them to get your CEU credits for the year. You can get up to, I think it's like 15 a year, but you only need 8. But then that 15 after the 8 up to the 15 can transfer to the next year or something like that. It's freaking weird. And they're never close to me, so I always have to go drive forever to go to these damn things.
I live like 10 minutes from where they host the CEUs in Houston.
That's awesome.
So it's great.
That is awesome. Now, for our 2 guests, before you started your companies, before you went off on your own, what was your biggest fail or victory? Do you have maybe something to share from before your
I'll
beginning?
let you go first, Russell.
All right. My biggest failure from when I was a branch manager at Donnie and Marie, and this is probably going to drag the mood down a little bit, but I had a technician that was going through some mental health issues, some struggles, losing specific members of his family, and it was a hard shift learning how to handle him, and so eventually he took his own life. And for me, I mean, I know there wasn't much more I could have done. We did a lot for him, and it's just you don't always know exactly where someone's at, and so you run through a lot of what could I have done differently, what could have this, and that was probably the lowest point I ever was as a manager, and that was one of what I still consider to be my largest failure. Not that he did that, but that I dragged myself so much for it, if that makes sense. But yeah, so like I said, that probably dragged the mood down a little bit. But I consider that one from that era of my life to be my biggest failure.
No, yeah, that's part of the big failures is that sometimes they're heavy emotionally. Oh man, I don't know how I would survive going through that. So that's crazy.
I kind of want to hug you right now, Russell.
Right? Like, I don't.
I tell you what, Rodney, you can only hug me when you win the title belt.
Well, I've already put one under my under my waist, so maybe there's another one. Maybe there's another one before this is over.
But thank y'all.
Well, you didn't wear the kilt, so
Yeah.
You don't know what's down here.
Yeah, right. You shouldn't have said anything. There's no camera.
No idea. There might be nothing down here. No idea.
For the listeners, I was supposed to wear my kilt tonight, but then I ended up watching my nieces, and I wasn't going to wear my kilt because I wear it Celtic style, and I'm not going to go play with little kids like that. So.
Probably proper.
We tried, Pestrogen. We tried to bring you your ladies, you know.
Oh god.
I mean, I found out today one of my clients thinks I'm gay, so, you know.
That's great.
That's so hard to follow, Russell.
Right?
So hard to
Talk
follow.
about my kids.
I should have went first. Why did I let you go first? I'm going to go with a failure. I'm going to go with a failure because it's one that's caused me to lose sleep over a few years. Now it's not quite as down to earth or down to home or hits as hard, Russell. But so I'm working for Big Box, and I'm looking after a few stores in this really large strip mall. And this large strip mall has their own pest control for the mall itself. I'm only tasked to a few stores. And one of the stores, I just can't seem to get the mice under control. They're just coming and chewing product and chewing product and chewing product. The management of that store is on me weekly. The staff is like begging me, what else can we do? What else can we do? And I try to tell them, like, look, I'm limited to your four walls. I can't leave your four walls. I can only do this in here. I beg the owner of the store. I'm like, look, you've got this whole wall full of old documents, saved documents that you've been saving for 8 years, because around here you have to save certain documents for 7 or 8 years. I'm like, look, when I am getting hits, they're on either side of this. I need you to bring some staff in and completely remove 8 years worth of documents. The owner of the store gets in my face, tells me I don't know what I'm talking about. They've been there for 8 years and have never been a problem, so clearly I'm the problem, and he throws me out of his store. I go out to the parking lot. I'm shook because I really care about this shit. And I want to get this solved for this guy, even though he's a complete asshole. I still want to tell him what the problem is before I go. I go out to the truck and I sit there and I can't get a hold of any of my management. I'm like, well, shit. I'm just going to go back in anyway and just take it on the chin. I went back in. And I tried to just kind of take it. The owner of the store got in my face within an inch, and I ended up being removed from the store, which is fine. The biggest failure in that is that I didn't stand my ground enough, and I didn't absolutely make this person know that I knew 100% what I was telling him was right. If you fast forward 2 months after this, I'm no longer an employee of that company. And the new technician actually reached out and said, hey, Rodney, remember those boxes you put on those service reports? Well, it turns out there was many nests of mice in those old boxes of paperwork, and you were right, and they were there. So it was my biggest failure because, well, one, I didn't hit the guy like I wanted to for getting in my face. I see you, Russell. 2, I walked away, and I didn't hold management accountable at the time, and I internalized it. But the win was after the dust had settled that I was actually right in the end. So that's back to the fails turning into wins kind of thing. We're a year and 6 months after that incident, and I still lose sleep over it because, well, maybe I should have just hit the guy.
Sometimes
We're
it
glad
solves
you
it quicker.
didn't, because you would
I
have
don't
gotten in
work for that
trouble.
company anyway, so, but, I mean, I was the bigger guy in the situation, and I walked away and I let him have his little pissing contest and tell me that I was wrong and I didn't know what I was talking about, even though thankfully I was right in the end. But that was probably the biggest failure for me, was being humiliated in front of a store full of staff while this guy belittled me and not doing anything about it.
Sometimes
Wow.
you just got to bite your tongue and go with it, though.
I did.
Yep.
I had to.
That's,
I had a family. I got a family.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why I used to
Yeah.
tell my technicians all the time, was at any point, if you need to, you tongue in cheek, turn around, walk to your truck, drive away, just shoot me a message as to what happened. So that way it's not just the customer's word against silence, but absolutely, you are the judge of what you're allowed to take.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. Question following that. I know here in the US and many states, if you get a aggressive felony or whatever, you can't work for a lot of pest control companies. Would that be the same in your boat? Maybe not if you're an owner operator. I don't know.
What do you mean if you get an
Like
aggressive?
like if you would have punched the guy and the cops would have been called
Oh, like an
and you
assault
would have
charge
gotten in
or
trouble.
something?
Yeah, like an assault charge.
Breaking and entering is usually the TDA or Department of Agriculture will usually restrict that as well.
Okay, yeah.
I probably would have been flagged. I don't know because it didn't happen.
Right.
I probably would have been flagged. Maybe I really don't know.
Okay.
I'm thankful. At the end of the day, like, the win was keeping my composure, letting him have his little shit smear, and walking away with a smile on my face and my fist clenched in my pocket and just letting it go.
Yep.
And now I'm successful in his area, and he's got mice again in his store, and they're tearing shit up again. So
I think the best part of the owner operator is being able to tell people, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if you want me to do this, it's going to cost a lot more.
Yep.
Or yep. Exactly.
I exercise that right all the time.
Yeah.
Like, no, if you're not going to do what I recommend, then I'm not doing any callbacks.
Yeah.
And you're not getting an extra service for free. These are the parameters of what I can help you with and how I can help you. Here's what you have to do on your side. And if you're not willing to comply with that, then I wipe my hands and walk away and move on to the next one that wants to actually be helped. So I only want to work for clients that actually want a resolution, not just somebody to shit on for their problems.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right.
I refuse to take on clients that literally just want to shit on somebody because they've still got cockroaches. I'm like, well, clean.
I don't.
Right. And that's the thing for us, big box and beyond, like Donnie and Marie, is if we do have to lay down and take it, but documentation.
Yes.
Documentation.
Paperwork is your best friend.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I can lay down and take as much as you want, but you know what? I'm documenting it all.
As long as you have good management backing you, that's going to work, and they're going to come to your side and fight for you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Exactly.
100%. Yep. Good times.
That was a big one, and I loved it when I was a manager, and I would get a tech that had like, hey, this is what happened. Lady started yelling at me. I just told her I apologized, walked away, drove off, and then the office would call and or my boss and like, oh, that technician needs to apologize to the customer. Not happening.
Yep.
It's the whole thing is, support. You got to have that support.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing I noted being, a solo guy out here is I no longer have that safety net at all. I don't have a partner. I don't have, a business partner. I don't have anybody So it's just me trying to figure this stuff out, and that can get taxing. I think that's why it's become a bit of a relief now that my son is interested in joining the family business, because it's an extra set of eyes, it's an extra set of knees to crawl underneath things, and it's not all on me every time. You know, if I know I've got a hefty day coming up, I'm like, listen, dude, are you working today? No, I don't work till tonight, or I don't work till tomorrow. I'm like, look, you want to make some cash, come and work with Dad for the day. Let's come and help me sort this out, get some experience, put some money in your pocket. And and basically just help Dad out.
Oh,
Dad's old.
Dad's old. 42 sucks.
I love your pictures on Facebook of you and your son together out in the field.
Thank you.
They're awesome.
It's adorable. Mm-hmm.
He gets so excited when he can clobber a squirrel or a rat. It's just, he's just like me. Like when I crawl out from underneath the trailer and I've got snap traps full of corpses, I'm like, I get giddy. I'm like, that's results. That's results. That's what you paid me for. And when he hops out and he's like, Dad, check this shit out. And he's got 3 or 4 rats or squirrels in his hand. And he's like grinning like the Cheshire cat from, it's just amazing. So I'm blessed to have, a son that wants to get in it with me like that. And even my youngest, he's 9. He calls himself my project manager. So when we need to work on new hat designs, when we need to work on, what are we going to do in the parade this year? He's right on it, right? He's, I'm blessed, very blessed with kids that want to support their dad. So
yeah, we have that with Jude. He wants to get into it. He's still too young, but he comes and works with us. Brandon always brings him to heavy rodent ones because, just like you said, Rodney, that extra set of eyes. Maybe I missed something. And Kyra does it. It's just not the thing, but okay, I'll come help, especially for, that extra cash in my pocket. But yeah, we call Kyra our HR. And we've given Kyra like 1,000 different random names, like the regional HR manager in charge of duplicating copies of paper. Just stupid shit. But it's always fun. They have a good time doing it.
That's cute. I love it.
I would say Russell's my supervisor.
Doug Russell.
Yeah, that's right.
We love
He sleeps all day, so he's just like a supervisor.
Yeah, he's a supervisor.
I was a supervisor. I know how to play the game.
So, we have a new segment for Pestrogen, the podcast. What is it called, Kandyce?
It is called, thanks to all of our lovely Pestrogen ladies. Me and Jenny could not decide on a name. We put it up to vote in the Facebook group, Jesus. And it is now called Have the Day You Deserve.
Nice. I like where this is going.
Right. Our last segment didn't even make sense because none of us are super Southern. So, this definitely makes a lot more sense.
Well, yeah, you can't talk. You're from Oregon.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Transplanted to the Super South.
Hey, I was a transplant into the Super South too. I still don't claim it.
But we did have an entry for that. Kandyce, would you want to possibly share the entry for that?
Oh, of course you're going to have me read this.
Well, we don't have to read the whole thing. Although, speaking of, there is going to be a blog because we got so many entries that there's no way we're going to be able to read them all. So thank you, everybody who shared, because this is an awesome topic.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to read this, probably not word for word, but we'll get the gist of it all. So this is from Leah Murray. She said, I've been in the pest control industry for over 10 plus years, last 5 as a licensed pest professional out in the field, 4 years tenure at a semi-big company, and the last year with the big old pain in the ass tea. We all know who that is.
Herbal Grey or breakfast blend?
The perfectly mint. There we go. Big T made what happened to me at my 4-year tenure company look like they were angels. I faced many challenges as an employee, and most importantly, as a woman at Big T. My branch, I understand that we're not all ran the same way. We've discussed that.
Yep.
I loathe the way my branch operated internally and externally, how management blew smoke up your ass. Do as I say, not as I do. It's the Big T way. Limit chemicals. The list goes on and on. Yeah, I bet. One of the biggest hardships I endured with them was being respected and acknowledged as a woman and a colleague by part of the management. To create that morale and make it known that it's okay to ignore and treat any colleague is a deplorable one. I don't care who you are. Ignoring your colleagues is just messed up. That's not okay.
No.
Let's see. So I worked for them for nearly 1 year before I just had enough. I should have walked away the moment management backed me into a corner and used intimidation factors and said I could end this right now to try to get me to stop asking questions or refusing to harass customers for payment every week. Jesus. I'm against harassing customers after it's went through several departments already internally, through divisions implemented within Big T, and then trying to force me to do it more than twice a week. It doesn't sit right with me that technicians should have to put in that position to harass clients when we see those clients face to face. We build those relationships with them only to hang it in the balance by being obligated to harass them for payment. I feel inevitably like it can be a retention issue. That's serious. Like, constantly being up your client's ass for a payment, that's not your job. You go do your job. There's a whole other department that can do that.
Right.
So I ran a very rural route for the Big T. Excuse me. It would drive me insane that it was not taken into consideration either. It was another big issue. We would have meetings held that took up route time, yet on those days I would be nearly 2 hours away from my first stop, yet they expected me to work till 5 still. Yeah, no, sorry. They preached to us to value management's time, yet fuck the technicians and and the client's time, right? Work-life balance, not there, especially when they would let us know you're ours from 8 to 5. Ew.
Right.
Okay, we're going to go over this for a little bit. Okay, so I noticed a new exterior Evo stations at a client's property, and I lost where I was. Oh, there we go. So naturally, I wanted to check on the activity. The exclusion tech that turned to a PC tech put 12 to 16 bait blocks in every 3 to 4 new stations. Why? How on earth was that a logically made thought when 2 blocks per pin is all that's needed? Hourly pay is a slap in the face to this industry, especially knowing how much money per tech per route knows exactly how much is being brought in. This career is not a quantity over quality performance-based line of work. Take that mentality and implement that into the distribution and factory setting. Shove it up your ass, Big T. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to go over that one. Yeah, she talks bad about their communication factors, which we already know that. During December to February, we couldn't get in shit to conduct service. I would bring it to the management's attention to get approval to go down to another supplier that was literally 10 minutes away from mice bait. Oh, it doesn't work like that. Just schedule extra services when we get it in. Why do that? Why make it 20 times harder for technicians? Yet it's our asses on the line when a customer complains that we were unprepared for service, right? You know, we went nearly 2 months without granules, yet used Entice. So we are charging high prices, yet the customer isn't getting their money worth, in my opinion. However, I would ensure I would use what I could, and that was Entice. Another issue I found wrong was how they would pull clients due next month forward. Sorry, I'm not knowingly committing fraud or breaching a contract. Let the technician breathe, you greedy fucks, and let your clients alone. And leave your clients alone. I hate when they said, well, if they don't pay attention, they'll never know. I know, and I won't do it. That's so messed up. I couldn't imagine charging one of my clients twice in a month. Like
Wet Shite was really bad. They were so horrible about that crap, and they would just kind of hope that nobody noticed. And it's like, yeah, when that money comes directly pulled out of their account, guess who notices?
Oh yeah. And her last part was, what shoved me over the edge was having enough. What shoved me over the edge of having enough, and it should have been earlier. I was getting my rig ready and creating a list of things needed to be taken care of before the spring and summer months. I notified my service manager that I needed a new pump because mine didn't survive the winter. I reported that the first week of February, and on March 3rd, he said he just placed the order on March 2nd and that I could make do. Absolutely not. I said that that's what the off months were for, was to utilize and prepare for the on season. Good God. I'm so happy I've never worked for that kind of a business in anything that I've done.
Yeah. No. I love Leah so much. And for her to have gone through all that is insane. So, boys, Kandyce, do we have any insults for the assholes that did this to her?
Just, oh my God. I've just reading that again, because I kind of just went through it to move things around a little bit. But just reading that again, all I can literally say is what their title is they just need to have the day they deserve, which is going to be a shitty day, because fuck them.
Yeah. Fuck all that.
I feel like the merger between minty green tea and R. Kelly, so now the motherfuckers look like a lit up Christmas tree on all their trucks, is more than enough insult for them. So you can take that red and green Christmas tree, you can shine it up real nice, and I want you to stick it straight up your fucking ass. Oh, yeah. And I worked for them, so I'm allowed to say it.
Right, there you go.
I mean, I will say this. At least they don't have mouse ears on their vehicles. Rodney mentioned that company earlier, so I knew he would get it. Oh, man. What did you call them? Truly stolen or something?
Truly stolen,
Truly
baby.
stolen.
Truly stolen. Oh,
fair.
God.
It's fair.
Oh,
I think the moral of that story is big box need to, these divisions and these offices and these areas that are full of shit managers need to just step up to the plate and realize that they're the toxic in pest control. You don't go and bill out for 6 months of routine stops and not show up once, because guess what? The customer knows, and now they're my customer.
Yep.
Because you done fucked up, and you did it intentionally, thinking because you are who you are that it's not going to affect you. But you know what? People aren't stupid. If they've got pest issues, they want pest control, which is why they call us in the beginning, So I'm not going to, like you had said earlier, Russell, and I'm sorry to go off on this, but this is a huge pet peeve of mine. I don't have contracts. If you don't want me there next month, tell me.
Yeah.
We're good. If I didn't do a good enough job to come back next month and to have you pay me again, fine.
Yeah.
That's on me, and that's a failure for me, and I will learn and I will move on. But for me to be a big ass about it and say, well, you're going to pay me and I'm just not going to show up, Fuck off.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Now,
That's what they deserve.
Now we
I
keep
come up
dogging
Absolutely.
Big Box for doing stuff like that, but honestly, me and Brandon have gotten so many clients from the small companies here that are doing the exact same thing. They fuck around, they find out, and then they become mine.
Yeah.
They won't be in business long.
Yeah.
They won't be in business long because they don't have that net of customers to keep them going.
Right.
That's the beauty of the little guy, is the little guy needs every one of those customers to be happy, so they keep coming back month after month and spreading the word of how fucking good we are.
Yeah, our
No,
latest
this is
one
cool.
was an older couple, and they just had gen pests, no rodents. They weren't having an issue, but she started to have a rodent issue, brings it up to her old pest company. He comes over, and he literally lives like around the corner from her. But he came over with a rolled up small piece of hardware cloth and 3 Victor snap traps, the rat ones, and handed them to her and said, "Here you go," and then turned around and left.
No.
So she's mine now. I love her to death. Her
Yeah.
dogs are awesome.
Fair.
The wooden Victor traps do not work here because they warp, and then when your trigger plate is on the wood, they're pointless. So we don't use those at all. But I will joke with her about that, and I brought an IRT over because a mouse did sneak into her place. We were trying to get it. It was super small. It wasn't setting off any of our traps. So we brought an IRT over, and she opened the door, and I handed it to her. I said, "Here you go," and turned around, and she's like, "What?" I was like, "I'm totally fucking kidding." But yeah, she's like one of my favorites now. She's great.
Oh, yeah. And I used to always tell the technicians when I was a manager, everyone has cameras these days. And if they don't have cameras, like one of my favorite clients I ever had, he didn't have a single security camera on his house. He's a retired bailiff for the city. But he paid 3 of his neighbors to have security systems, and at least one is, so he still is fully covered. But if you look at his house, it's like, oh, he doesn't have any security cameras, but he's fully covered. So everyone these days has cameras, Ring doorbells, there are cameras on the eaves. Neighbors have cameras. So the dumbest thing you can do, and then like you were saying, Kandyce, GPS exists. But the dumbest thing you can do is, oh, yeah, I did that service, and you never step foot on that property. That's, I can take a lot of things. Just please don't lie to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's insane. So we have ran a little bit long, which is totally fine. This has been an incredibly fun episode. Thank you guys so much. So there was so many stories we didn't get to because we got a lot of entries. But I did want to bring up a couple people. So we did TFTC. Definitely check out Tales from the Crawlspace if you haven't. We're all 4 of us here are big fans of them. But then Pest Perspectives, Sean Moeller, he gave us a really awesome entry, which will be on the blog, so definitely check that out. And then I call them our B&B boys, our Beauties and Beasties. They gave us some entries too. I kind of got a hold of them late, so Sean didn't get one to me, and that was totally my bad. But definitely check them out, and their stories that they did give us will be on the blog. Those who have a Tony Spangler tumbler, you should show off your beautiful rubber bottoms. Shake those rubber bottoms for us. Rodney's licking the rubber bottom. That's for you, Pestrogen ladies. Check that. Definitely check out the YouTube video for that one. we got to put in those teasers for you.
That can be the YouTube thumbnail.
We'll get all the ladies to check it out, but
and quite a few of the guys too.
My cheese dad's gonna watch just for you, Russell.
I know, I love him so much, that hunky man.
Exactly. But
his chances skyrocketed now that I'm single. Shoot, I need to
Brad, check out Russell. This is
Russell
your...
said he loves you.
Oh, it's more than love, baby.
Oh God! Quit creeping on my dad. Weird. So, also, Marcus from License to Kill gave us a story too that was really good. That will be on the blog as well. If you didn't check out Pest Cemetery, there was also Jerry from Pest Cemetery gave us a story that will be on there as well.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't put in the OneNote yet. He gave me a link, I think, to a blog, but it has a story that, yeah. But if you haven't checked out
he was a good sport about that.
me too. He's a really good sport. I've always reached out to him before I steal his face for one of our Pestrogen pictures, and he was always just like, whatever, I don't care. So, he's a very great sport. So, there'll be one from him, but Marcus from License to Kill as well, and definitely check out his post with Tales from the Crawlspace merch, and vice versa. Jack posted one with License to Kill. So they both have really cool logos. I would totally wear their stuff.
Badass logo with the crosshair. And
I love that. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. And Pestrogen is going to be coming out with merch eventually. But, we're kind of doing a brand change and all that good stuff. So
we'll get to it.
We'll get there. Let's see. But yeah, any other story? If you gave us a story, it will be on the blog. So if you didn't hear it here.
It's hard to stay in line when you got two funny dudes here. Just right? It really is.
But Rodney's awesome.
No, you two were both great. Here. That's why when we decided to do this one, I asked Jenny if we could invite both of you on, and she was like, "Oh my God, yes, perfect." So here we are.
More than an honor.
You two are the second and third guys on Pestrogen podcast. Sam Tutton was the number one, which I am sending them both a gift for being one of the first guests on Pestrogen. So, and you two gentlemen expect something too. I have Russell's address. I need to get yours. I don't know. Actually, I don't know how much it's going to cost to send to Canada, but
it's a long way away.
We'll see. I'm not that far away with being
I'm the
Ohio,
farthest one away.
From Nova Scotia.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Man, I miss a good Tim Hortons.
Nah, you wouldn't miss it anymore.
No, don't tell me that. Man, lie to me, Rodney. Keep my dream alive.
That's great. Yes. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and our two guests for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime.